Okay, so I am Lindsay with Fierce Creative Solutions, and I like to make people uncomfortable, so I want everybody to introduce themselves. And I have a question for you to think about later, because I have a feeling my presentation is not gonna take that long. Like, I'm not gonna take 45 minutes. So I would like to know, you can tell me one thing or both things. So what is one thing you are taking away from 2023 as a lesson? Like in reflecting, I've done a lot of reflecting about 2023 kind of towards the end of the year. Or what is one goal that you have for 2024? So I'm just curious about like kind of the position that businesses are taking going into next year, or kind of the lessons we're taking away from last year. So you can think about that. In the meantime, introduce yourselves, and I'm gonna come back to that question after I'm done. So you have, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes to think about it. All right, Morgan, why don't you start?
I'm Morgan Stoll. I work for Fierce. I do digital.
Tell them what you do.
Yeah, I do digital.
No, what does that mean?
I do like Facebook ads, Google ads, that kind of stuff.
I'm Kirsten. I also work with Fierce, and I do, I'm a creative content manager, so a lot of social media, email marketing, and copywriting for blogs and stuff.
I'm Jalen at Berlin Gravely. We're a lawn and garden equipment dealership, and I do a little bit of everything. So,
Mark with Inkscape Print downstairs. We do all kinds of printing promotional products.
I'm Linda Allison, and I am a small business coach, and I help businesses look at things from analyze their business from sort of a business acumen perspective, and then decide what it is.
I'm Nick Peckrell, I'd be president of Kingsway Services, we're a paving construction company. Pave roads, parking lots,
Crush rocks.
we want to do things.
That's fun.
I was reporting that, you know,
I'm Chris. I've got the responsibility for Equus and Rise and multiple other things, including Cider Press in Millersburg, the restaurant, and
It's a great place to host a company Christmas
It is a
party. Let's just have
fantastic
a
place.
shameless plug.
Yes, absolutely. Christmas gift cards and Christmas parties. That is the season for it right now. And the best chicken tenders around. Quick story.
These two girls will say that because they only eat chicken tenders and they love your chicken tenders. So.
Quick story. Last Friday night, we had an online order come in, and then they called and said it wouldn't let us put in our full order. And they're like, "Oh, what do you want?" They're like, "We want 2 family-sized chicken tender boxes, which is 20 chicken tenders a piece." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "Oh, we got a party tonight." So we actually manually delivered a $250 order that was mostly chicken tenders.
Wait, how many chicken tenders was that?
That was just in that too, because they'd ordered some smaller stuff as well, but just those two was 40 chicken tenders.
That's not that many, okay? I have 4 kids. I'm pretty sure they can eat 20 chicken tenders.
Our chicken tenders, ours fill up fast.
That's true.
Okay.
So that was a lot.
Okay. Lesson. Good to know. Very filling, delicious
Yes.
chicken tenders.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to cover, the email said, does your marketing suck? But I actually already did that talk, and I did it at Gap Conference. If anybody has any questions about that, I do have a quiz that you can use to audit your current marketing, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you, but I didn't want to share the same content again. So we are going to talk about some 2024 marketing trends or predictions kind of going into next year of what we see, things that could be coming down. So marketing is the art of telling your story in a way that captivates, connects, and compels. It is not just about selling a product, it's about creating a narrative that inspires and leaves an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of your audience. And this is ChatGPT. So I said, give me a great marketing quote that's inspirational or whatever. I just wanted to use this as, I actually really like it, but I wanted to use this as an example of the types of things that you're able to pull out of ChatGPT. Is anybody here utilizing this ChatGPT on a daily basis in their work? Okay. It is taking the world by storm. We just met with a business owner yesterday. Oh, we got somebody showing up. She really is like pretty clueless, like not even into social media, had never heard of it before, and we were just like, explaining all of the ways. Like, she's very creative, she's a landscape designer, so like is very creative. And what I find a lot is like creative people really have a hard time slowing down and write. So like you got to describe something with words and write, it's very difficult. So for her to kind of utilize a platform like that. Or she's also a mom of a lot of children. I said, how cool would it be if you can just go in there and say, I need a 7-day meal plan that's keto-based or dairy-free for 6 people, and I need all of the recipes and an ingredient list for my grocery store as well. Like, it, you know, we were just talking about the evolution of this AI and increasing productivity and things like that moving into next year. So I definitely think that that's something that we all need to pay attention to, is how can we utilize AI to basically work smarter, not harder. And there's new tools coming out all of the time, so. All right, so one of the biggest marketing trends that we see coming for next year, I always run into this TV when I'm here. I want to go backwards. Okay, yeah, let's go this way. All right, so we see AI being brought in for conversational marketing and AI-driven interactions. So this would look like brands utilizing this for it becoming a part of the chatbots or messengers. It's going to be a part of social media platforms. So this would allow us to have less people interaction with the customer, to allow us to respond quicker, more efficiently. Nick, you look confused. Do you have a question? Okay. Okay. So, through chatbots and virtual assistants, you're going to be able to have more personalized interaction with your clients. How many people use a chatbot or messenger on their website right now? We don't either. I was just curious if anybody does. Here comes Natalie. Oh, it's Becca. We thought you were Natalie because of the shoes, because we could normally hear her coming from far away, so.
Very loud, yes.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, sorry I'm late.
I have a question for you to think about for later. I gave everybody else. Either a lesson that you learned from 2023, or a goal that you have for 2024. Okay, so just think about that for later. And we are talking about 2024 marketing trends. So we're talking about how AI will be used for conversational marketing, so like through chatbots and messengers and things like that. So I would say typically, like for example, none of us are using chatbots on our website right now in this room, and we are in a community where what everybody else is doing typically happens here many years later. But I think that we need to start adapting a little bit more quickly. I don't want to miss the boat by, again, working smarter, not harder, because we are not getting with the trends as fast as we could be. I would say that our markets are expanding as well. So a lot of us work outside of just this area. And so being able to reach the audience in the way that they're going to be used to be reaching will be necessary to kind of change the way that we communicate and the tools that we're using. So this one I thought was super interesting, and we could go a million different ways. So virtual reality and augmented reality integration. So brands will begin to implement VR and AR to offer unique opportunities and experiences to their clients. So like an example would be a showroom tour of a car dealership, or visualize like your furniture in your room. So I'm curious from each one of you if there's a way that you could think of utilizing that in your business. So what is like a way for you to have, who here has an Oculus or some type of VR thing in their house? You do. It's only one person here. Again, I haven't bit the bullet yet because my kids aren't asking for it. If they were asking for it, we might have one, but they're not into it yet. So Tyler, you don't have one?
Nope.
Really?
I'm not near as techy as people could think I am.
I'm surprised.
Most of my tech gear is, honestly, all of my tech stuff is work related. Like none of it, I don't play video games.
No video game.
Barely watch TV.
Yeah, you definitely don't fit your stereotype.
I'm okay with that. Including people skills most of the time.
Yeah.
Most people in my field are little strangers.
Yeah, you're much easier to talk to.
I hope so.
I would say that the same holds true for web developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare to find a personable web developer. We have one, thank goodness. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. I really am curious to think, is there a way like for us to do a virtual reality? I'm having major deja vu about Linda saying something about the way to walk a client through like a business plan or something like that. So like being able to put in visualization for what you might create or what they might experience working with you. Like, Nick, could this possibly turn into a homeowner seeing what their driveway would look like with an entire, it's all in asphalt prior to it actually happening. Visualization on websites has been something like contractors really want. It hasn't always been done well to like switch out siding colors or roofing colors or things like that. But technology is changing, and so that would be a great example of a way to utilize it if a salesperson went out and they're like able to just show them, and they can just switch colors and just see what it would be like. That would probably, it's going to change the sales process, and the people that have that, or the contractors, business owners that have that available, may take the edge over experience versus others that don't.
Mark and I got to see Kimes virtual experience where they, the 360 room where we sat in and they walked us through some blueprints, and they kind of gave you a sense of the space, of how it would actually feel to be in the space. So it was very cool.
So Previa needs to get with the program and do the same thing for all of their products. Can you think of any other way that this might be used? We already do visualization like with our website, so I can't think, like I'm trying to think of a way that, it's a little bit harder when your product is intangible, right? Like it's business coaching or it's something, I don't know. Chris, can you think of a way for Equus that it might make sense?
There was the theory that the metaverse was going to create the need for online professional service portals where avatars would interact. I don't think that's a now or soon thing, because when you have privacy concerns, that stuff is not super private right now.
I wonder if it could be like how this example is just showing like the ability for somebody to jump in and see what it's going to be like. So beyond just seeing what the environment's like, maybe also doing like people interactions. So like, let's say somebody wants to have a divorce and they need to hire Nikki, like they get to go into a virtual space, meet her, maybe even ask some like curated questions in a way that would make them feel comfortable, or I don't know, this is just me brainstorming. Like,
there's a future for it. It's just the level of privacy and security available currently does not meet the ethical standards.
Well, I don't think it would be it wouldn't be a personalized experience so far. It would be more like, let's get comfortable, know that you want to then hire Equus and come here and be here in real life. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can see that being used in like furniture stores.
Yeah.
Where they take a picture of your bedroom and we show you the bed and the dresser. Because a lot of the like furniture catalogs that we're already seeing computer generated images for a lot of the, say it's the builder having to build the piece, and you can show it in all the different scene colors.
Which Amazon already has that. I don't know if you guys use that, where it says show it in my room. Like if you want to buy a piece, you can put it there. Like it's not great, but it's something. So you could, because I'm horrible at details. I am almost not allowed to buy anything serious on Amazon without my husband checking it first, because it will show up and it'll either be way too small or way too big, and because I don't read it. I'm just like, oh, that's pretty, let's buy it. So that visualization has helped at least sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. But the idea of having like, you're buying living room furniture or whatever it is, and you can see the whole design put together, that would be great. So, and honestly, the interior design, like there's a lot of 3D mock renderings and things like that, but to be able to like walk through that kind of virtually first would be really cool.
Yeah, for our area specifically, furniture is going to be the biggest key. And the cost of entry of that has been rather labor intensive and expensive. And AI is going to start tracking that down to where it's going to make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Or you can just you can generate your finishes and then introduce your drawings, and it'll automatically allow that to happen. And then you can place it in your room or have showrooms that people could go in and walk around and feel and touch and all that stuff. Yeah, when you start getting to the haptic feedback of the hands with the gloves, and that's probably the next 5 years, you know, that where it's like, hey, you can pet the furniture. You can feel it, that type of stuff. That'll be interesting.
Sit on it and see how it feels,
You know,
like that type of.
yeah.
Where would you actually go though? If you're yeah.
When you say that, it does make me think, the fact is, when we look at legal trends, the preference is moving far and away towards virtual interaction with professional service providers, away from the in-person. No, it's not that it's not a relational business, it's just I'd much rather text or email, even emails, passe, text or have a portal or wherever to be on. And face-to-face is becoming less and less because it just simply takes so much time to get in and see the person. And you take so much of your life to go away and do that. So there is, I mean, the room for this to introduce itself even in professional services is there.
It'll be the closest we can get to teleporting to somewhere.
Maybe by the time we die, that'll be available too.
We're gonna lose some weight. Charge per gram.
Shoot, man. We're ain't going anywhere.
I've been getting lots of ads for AI workout platforms, so that's been interesting. Like, think about, I just saw some video about how it says, oh, you think this isn't hard? Like, people think it's not a real workout, but that's an side conversation. Okay, so the trend towards sustainable and ethical marketing will continue to increase. So there is an increased consumer value around sustainable and ethical business practices. So in 2024, we will see brands continue to leverage this through campaigns, content, and sales promotions. Bomba Socks has buy one, like you buy one, they give one. So that is, I would not say that is necessarily a value of the older generations, but as the millennial and under generations grow and take up more consumer buying power and percentage, that is something that brands need to be considerate of and kind of shift towards as they develop their marketing plans and practices. Does anybody have anything like that now, where you're like a give back, or it's a public thing that they know, people know a certain percentage of sales goes towards something? This is definitely more of a B2C probably, and I think a lot of us are in a B2B space. So this is important for us to know though, as we are giving advice to retail businesses and just thinking of unique marketing ways. In this area, we tend to shy away from, we're very generous as a community, and we tend to shy away from talking about how generous we are as a community. Nobody wants anybody else to know about it. So we have to have lots of conversations about that with our business owners, and how it's not boastful, or, you know, like it can be presented in a way that is truly heartfelt so that people really do connect with what you're doing and can help support your business. If, like, I know, if it's a cause that's truly important to you, like adoption, or, I mean, there's a million other things out there that it could be supporting. All right, so we will see an evolution of personalized marketing strategies. So consumers today expect unique and tailored experiences. With new data analytics, available brands will be able to evolve their marketing plans so that the messaging and content is personalized for each person. Mass marketing will continue to decline. Again, this is something that in this area, because we're kind of behind the times a little bit, we are just now starting to see more, I mean, if I can think of the number of contractors in this area who are still doing things on paper and they're not using CRMs, like that's an example of where we are not necessarily as a community staying up with where the technology is at in the world. This requires a lot of technology included into your marketing so that you have the data about your clientele. So for example, HubSpot is a super powerful marketing CRM. It's pretty expensive, but you can allow that to hook up to all of your marketing channels and your website and everything. So it can give you a lot of information about your consumer, where they're at, where did it come from. Without that, we have limited data, so we can see, like for example, if we're running Google ads, we can see how many Google conversions we had, so how many phone calls, how many lead forms. But when you implement a platform like HubSpot, when it comes into your CRM, it can actually connect then, oh, this person came from Facebook, to the person itself. And without a platform like that, we don't have the ability or technology to actually connect that individualized information. So with that information then as a business, you would be able to shift creating specific marketing messages. So maybe it's somebody who's interested in a product, they leave an abandoned cart, or they didn't fill out a form, then you can create customized marketing for that person. Yeah, and experience is a big part of a consumer's buying journey now. So, which is actually my last point. So we'll come back to that. All right. Tyler, you'll like this one. Video marketing and short form video will rule the world. Okay? In 2024. So we've heard for years to do video, but we are just really now seeing, I think, why it's been so important. So in order to stand out as a brand, you must be utilizing video marketing, especially on your social media channels. Like I just remember 4 years ago, everybody's like, well, you have to use video. Live video was a big deal on Facebook. And that was successful and still is successful sometimes. But with the social platforms changing over the last couple of years, people's attention spans changing, the short form video is the #1 way to reach an audience outside of your current followers, get awareness, and just really be consistent. It's a way for you to stand out in a social media feed. I mean, some carousel posts and some graphic design posts will do okay, but I think we have like 1 or 2 seconds to grab somebody's attention. Like it's literally used to be like 7 seconds, and like every year it goes down. So video is going to be super important, and that can be a mix of educational videos, so you talking about your product and walking somebody through that so that they can see what it's going to be like or what it will do for them. It could be a story video about your company that really just kind of tells a story and makes an emotional connection. Or it could be fun and entertaining, something to grab somebody's attention, and maybe something that would go viral to bring them into your account, so then you can foster that relationship and grow. So we utilize at Fierce like all of those different types of, and create kind of a custom strategy for each business based on their service and their goals. And not everybody has a goal of hitting 5 million views on Instagram, and that's okay, but that's something that we want to talk about, like with the goals. So we don't run social media for somebody and only post 1 or 2 times a week, and then they think that they're going to hit 5 million views on Instagram. That's not really how it works. So, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Add a video below it of like something happening that is like appealing for your eye, like either something that's like a satisfying video or a video game or something like that. And it's so crazy to me that there's like it could be a clip of like 5 seconds and they're like, oh, this is just someone sitting talking, but they'll watch the thing below it the entire time while there's a quote happening above, and it's so crazy to me. The other thing I thought about was like with even like podcast clips or so many videos, how often do you watch and the best 2 seconds of the clip plays at the very beginning, and all of a sudden it starts at the beginning of the actual video and will play the whole thing, but you won't watch it if it starts out at the beginning. You'll only watch it because you're like, oh, there's something like 2 minutes into this that I caught my eye, and they played at the beginning for a second.
The idea of videotaping podcasts is like anybody who has a podcast should be videoing it and putting it on social, because there are multiple podcasts that I've watched on TikTok, and I've never listened to the podcast,
Yeah.
but I feel like I know who they are. I would go follow them
Yeah.
or buy their product or listen to them in some other way.
And
And
even
that,
people doing podcasts are, like, there's a guy I watch who at the end of every podcast says, here's a folder, and they already cut up all the clips that they thought would be good, and they put them online for free. And they say, feel free to take them, monetize them, post them on social media, but just make sure you give us credit. And people are making money off this other guy's podcast because they're posting it on social media, and it's doing well.
did you see at that conference I had, Munch is an AI that's meant to take long form video and automatically edit it into clips made for social media? Have you ever heard of it? Okay, it'd be interesting for you to test
Yeah.
that with some type, like even like a wedding video, if it can see what would be the best shortest clips for, like if you were trying to promote wedding videography or something
Yeah.
like that.
I know a kid who's doing wedding videos, and he's calling them social media. I think social media weddings. I don't know, something where he's only delivering 5 very small reels instead of a wedding video, like even a 5-minute wedding highlight. He's delivering.
Well, that's
5
interesting because
reels.
that's where most people are going to want it.
And what he even films it sideways, so it's built for.
Yeah.
He looks crazy to me because he's walking around with his camera completely sideways the whole day, but yeah, he's making okay money just making reels for people's social media because that's all people care about is posting a.
Well, they're going to keep it there forever and know where to find it instead of trying to dig through some video or post it to YouTube or something like that. Where are you going to put the long wedding video?
And older people still complain that it's only 5 minutes long, and now it's even less. Where it's like, oh, you get 5-10 second long clips of your wedding party doing something that makes me want to cringe a little bit. But, but that's all they care about.
Yeah.
I do think in like 20 or 30 years they're gonna look back and be like, wow, remember that day we did this really stupid trend? Yeah.
That's okay.
Because it was about
I've got 2
social
hours of
media.
my wedding on a little tape deck. We've never watched it.
Yeah, that's how they do it. And that's really what it comes down to is if it's important to you right now, it's fine, you know, because you're not really gonna care in 20 years probably.
I will say, so TikTok is like my favorite social media platform for me. Just with how many accounts we manage, Facebook is a nightmare for me because it's literally like 25 businesses and it's just not enjoyable. So cleaner, I like Instagram, I like TikTok. So for my personal life to just check out. The bad thing is, I love Nate Bargatze, and we went to his show and I already knew 60% of the jokes because he's posted them all. And literally my husband was like, you didn't even laugh. And I was like, I've already seen them all, like, sorry. So that's maybe one bad thing. I would say that, you know, it's great for him for social because people see little clips, think he's really funny. But if you really follow somebody, it did decline the show experience for me personally. So that's just another observation.
The thing that he was saying about like the clips with like intriguing video next to it. I know they do that a lot on TikTok with like stitching. Like they stitch the video and it's like
drives you crazy. It's
just
just a way of like
laughing. It's like, like I don't care about, like who cares about that person sitting on their couch, you know, listening to something smart happening.
But it gets their views up because,
Yeah.
so it's interesting.
I think you guys have used video. Nick, I know you obviously have, and Linda, you're posting video. Do you guys use video marketing at all?
A little bit.
A little bit.
It's easier than creating something in Canva and putting it up there.
Yeah.
It's like I can literally do a video post in 15 minutes. You know.
You've got lots of knowledge up there, so you have lots to talk about and share.
Yeah.
Okay, so their own. That is crazy to me. So if you, which I just saw your guys' post. You're like, we stay out of like political wings or whatever. But if you position yourself as a company that's Republican or Democratic, especially going into a conservative or liberal or whatever it is, it could be lots of other things. It could be like,
Christian.
I do or don't, Christian or not Christian. It could be like, I do or don't care about sea turtles. People could be mad at you for using paper straws or plastic straws at a restaurant, even if we're in Ohio. You know, like there's lots of different ways that.
I don't have straws.
Paper straws are trash.
They are. They just dissolve. They turn into nothing.
You're supposed to carry a metal one around.
Yeah, well, those suck too, 'cause they taste like metal.
I know.
How old are you again, Tyler? 'Cause you're aging right now.
Yeah, I
We're
would
getting
agree.
wise. That's a word, another opinion.
But this is interesting to think about and how you position yourself with your marketing and like, is that a conscious decision you want to make? Maybe you do want to position yourself as a Christian company. That's made, not one that happens by accident. So like you accidentally are putting out that you care about something maybe you're not even aware of. So it'd be interesting to go back to social and analyze that. Yes, Chris?
So I was thinking of, you were talking about grabbing attention. I thought, well, I put my cat in the first 2 seconds of the video, but I might turn off all the cat hate.
I hate cats, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So I'm allergic to it, just so you know, I'm definitely allergic.
You point out super well. I mean, the firm
Yeah.
is agnostic. It is apolitical. Why? Because we serve whole communities, and we
Right.
serve multiple demographic communities across the state now. Urban, suburban, rural, and our goal is not to take or you're going through a divorce, or you're going through a business sale or a breakup of a business with your partner. None of that matters because we're solving legal problems at that point in time. And so you bring that up, which begs the question, because when do you know the difference between, hey, I'm marketing and when I'm virtue signaling? Because the consistency necessary to maintain that demographic is for consumers who are watching, the thing that becomes, you're not consistent. You're hypocritical. You're saying you're this, but you're doing this. I mean, that is a lot of intentionality, and that's where I see a lot of the people get caught up, is that they have chosen
Yeah.
You're virtue signaling by doing this stuff. So where does that become a boon without it having to become your entire identity?
Well, and I don't know that it makes sense for every single brand to create this like value. I mean, maybe the value that you are attaching to is, it's not the same thing as like something as black and white as somebody wanted to choose a political lane or a religion lane or something like that. But the values that you, like it could be financial wholeness as a value, you know, like for a financial advisor or somebody giving tax advice or CPA, I think it's super wise that you have chosen that because of what you said. Not every single company needs to do that. Some of them, like Previa is a very publicly Christian company, and that has done very well for them, and it's okay. It hasn't stopped them from bringing in suppliers and selling to contractors around the United States. So it just needs to be something, I think, that you analyze what makes sense for your business and position yourself in the right way and thinking through what you're saying, which is what could possibly happen if we position ourselves this way and the values that you'll rhyme with.
Yeah, I mean, if you pick a lane and stick to it, or you pick one, you're gonna have people that don't agree with that. That's kind of the whole point. Is you pick this, but the people that do align with you, they're gonna align with you wholeheartedly, and you're gonna have fans.
Yeah.
And the people, and there's just gonna be a certain sect that don't agree with you and say, well, whatever. Well, you didn't want to do business with them anyhow, probably. And so, you know, that's where I think when you look through that, it's like, well, this is our value, this is what we're gonna stand on, this is our belief as a company, this is the atmosphere we want to create, this is the customers we want to attract, or you stick with that, and then you're just okay if 18% of the people
Right.
call you assholes, you know, or whatever it is, because it's just gonna happen. It's
Yes.
social media, isn't it? 40%, whatever.
Well, and couldn't you say that I'm accepting all people of every kind of values and I'm promising to support them well is a value?
Well, it probably
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's just, beliefs are not well fit for sound bites. And people want to capture a market and they'll use a sound bite when it really doesn't encompass what they really fully believe. And so when it gets nuanced and you start expressing those nuances,
In the 10-second video.
yes, and that's just,
Yeah. But only the first 2 seconds that they look at.
and so choosing not to, in order to be available to more people, I think is a value.
We actually had a situation this year where we were working with a company who has an owner who has had a very interesting religious background. The person had this experience. And he was wanting to become more a part of the brand. He has a very specific energy that if you looked him up on Instagram, you would know. Tyler now knows who I'm talking about. So, like if you look at the company, that was not necessarily represented, but he's the owner and his energy goes into that. So like that affects his team and the way that they lead internally. I would not say that they position themselves like that through their marketing. He wanted to be more a part of the public presence of the company, and so he started doing more videos. And in one of them, he talks about his experience of like growing up in a cult, basically leaving the cult, what that was like. But that's a part of his almost business journey, and he wanted to share it. And we had a little bit of a conflict. Like, is this page where people come to watch time lapses of their projects really the right space to put talking about that many views, to be honest with you, but that is something. It's an exact example of what you're talking about, and it's not. I don't know that we as a marketing company, since we're in partnership, will try to steer our companies the best way we can. But ultimately, if a business owner says that they want it, and they're super passionate about it, then we're gonna do it for them, and either it's gonna succeed or fail, and then we can use that as leverage for, well, this isn't performing well, so let's try it different the next time.
In the case, I think it's very important that you study your client base, and like maybe, let's say you're a Christian bookstore selling, then it's okay, it might be okay to talk about your Christian values.
Right.
But in the case like the law firm, you might want to stay neutral.
Yeah.
I think you can, when you look at that, and I hesitate to even bring that up, but you can use like the Bud Light thing that happened. As if they would have studied their client base, they would have never done what they did.
Has anybody seen the Chevy Christmas commercial?
I heard about it.
It's
They just drive the old truck
very
around.
long. You haven't seen it?
And no, it is like make me cry.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, it is make you cry, but that is like a family values type. So it doesn't all have to be so polarizing as what you're saying. You know, they're utilizing the value of family and history and car rides and memories and a person getting older. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's a really good commercial.
If you have anybody in your family that suffered from dementia or Alzheimer's, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, it's really,
It's gonna be rough.
yeah. But it was very emotional and it connected with the audience, especially for the people who have dealt with that. And that was a way for them to connect to a value. And that would be some, kind of utilizing this in a positive way that's still sort of neutral. It's not necessarily, like I said, a polarizing thing. I think that this also ties back to sustainable and ethical marketing, because what you want to support and give back to shows your values. So if you're going to give money to schools in Africa, then that shows some sort of value that you have, and people may or may not align with that. So it can make people buy or not buy. So these two things kind of tie together, just in your consideration. Okay. All right. So at the end, here are 3 just 2024 marketing recommendations that we have. So number 1, I would recommend auditing your website and analyzing room for improvement. Maybe your website wouldn't even be ready for an AI chatbot. that is perhaps not even in good shape to handle that type of technology. So there might be other things that you need to just fix from a functionality or content as possible, especially video. So I don't think, we never recommend that you can create too much content or post too much. It's not really a thing. So utilize an omni-channel approach. Ensure that you are working on your branding as well as your sales and lead generation. When we work with business owners, they always want the ROA, they always want the black and white, they always want the number. But growing your brand presence is very important, especially in a way where you need to emotionally connect with your audience prior to them needing your services. You need to give them, and I think going into 2024, inspiring desire will be something that's necessary again. We are coming out of the COVID years where business just was falling in everybody's laps, and maybe not, I mean, in this area. Outside of this area, it was way different for everybody, but because we have such a large concentration of contractors who have not had to work super hard for their business, they've sort of gotten comfortable with not having to pay a lot to generate leads and grow their business, and I think we're just returning to pre-COVID normals of having earlier buying is better than later buying because the time will be taken up. And if you buy some of those things, you could get kicked off if you wait too long, so.
And the more we buy, the less they can, so.
Yes. I would say that's also a place where we like to utilize streaming.
Just have that, we bought this, just so you don't have to listen to us.
Yeah. That's your marketing plan right there, yes, post it on social, hey, just so you know.
This spot of silence sponsored by.
That's a great Super Bowl commercial right there.
This guy, marketing genius.
Yeah. Girls, write it down.
You could use it.
I was going to say, we utilize streaming a lot with our clients, which allows us to target things down. So it used to be, like if you're buying broadcast, everybody's like, buy news spots or buy prime time because that's when everybody's watching. With streaming, you are allowed to buy the view of your customer, and it doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning because your 55-year-old premenopausal woman is up in the middle of the night watching TV because she's your target customer. So it used to be like, you never want to be on in the middle of the night because nobody's watching. Why would we pay for that? But now with the trackability of having streaming commercials, and I also think that streaming will help offset political things because it's a different space. It's not connected to the news. It's going to be connected to the types of shows that people actually want to watch for entertainment. So that's something that we are looking at when we're building plans for 2024. Okay. All right. If anybody would like to sign up for our email newsletter, you can use this QR code. Most of you might already be on there, but all right, so let's go back around the room and talk about either a lesson learned in 2023 or a goal for 2024.
Start in the back.
Nick, you ready?
Sure. Let's go with a lesson in 2023. Sometimes clarity is hard. And it doesn't always look what you want it to look. We just had a lot of situations this year where the clarity was a hard outcome and had to work through that. But in the end, it did better. Yeah.
Good, thank you for sharing that.
Thorough planning, intentional execution, and the belief that something is the right thing to do doesn't mean that it's going to work. And the cost of going back should not be minimized. So that would be the hardest lesson of 2023.
Okay.
I don't have a lot to say. A goal for us in 2024 is doing some social marketing. We haven't done anything up to this point. We've always done paper advertising for 32 years. So that's one avenue that we're gonna
Social's a lot cheaper.
No, come on now.
Depends on your,
Texting, though, it's not right.
depends on your drivers.
No,
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, we're currently having a website designed for us, so that's one goal for 24.
Awesome. Mark?
I didn't think of anything really cool, but I yesterday, a couple of our coworkers, we were talking about, we picked up a brochure from one of our competitors, and they were talking not about what they can provide, but what they have, what kind of equipment they have, like they had all their pieces of equipment listed. And then we got into a conversation about how does that help me, or what does that do? I don't care that Nick has a brand new cap loader. I want to know what he can do for me. And then somebody pointed out that you go to the hardware store and you buy that 1/8" drill bit. You really don't want the drill bit, you want the 1/8" hole.
All the hole, not the tool.
So what I want to do in 2024 is figure out how to provide that 1/8" hole without putting the focus
I think my
back on
husband wants an
myself.
1/8" drill bit, because based off the number of tools that we have in our house, but yeah, yes. You're speaking to what the client needs or wants.
Yeah, that's why I want to provide the hole without putting the focus on the bit.
Yep. Good.
So, wow, 2023 was really interesting for me. I would say what I learned was that I was really working hard at doing things that brought me no joy. None. And because other people said I should do this or I should do that, or I saw other people doing things. And so I just decided to stop doing that and only do things that bring me joy. So that was it. And then 2024, I only want clients that are going to bring me joy. And if I don't feel like they are, I don't care. I'm not taking them.
Was it just Marie Kondo for life?
Marie Kondo, get rid of anything that doesn't cause you joy.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm like, no.
Is your husband out on the road now?
He's gonna retire, then I'll probably be like, man, I'm gonna be all around. Yeah.
Tyler, do you have something to share?
2023, I learned to not really care about what my competitors are doing. Because, I don't know, kind of stay in my lane type thing, and just do what I do and not worry about. It's hard not to look at what they're doing on social media and posting about things that they want to convince people that, this is probably a bad room to talk, but you're trying to convince people, at least in some fields, that you're actually doing the things you're posting about on social media. When in reality, you're probably struggling pretty hard, not in all cases, but I feel like that's my field is it's more important to post that you're busy. And in reality, it's most people that do what I do, I feel like if they're not posting about it, it's because they're busy. And ironically enough, in 2024, I would like to post more about what I'm doing. Because I've never done marketing. It's always been network, and I let clients do it for me. It's all word of mouth, which has worked. But I've had clients this year tell me "Oh, I want your, website or social media," and it's always things I like, and not most of what I'm doing. So I need to be better about posting client work. So yeah, there's a ton of it. I just never posted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Becca?
Goal for 2024 is really with our Northfield and Newark markets to really hit the customer that we are going to be taking in. Because I see there's a lot of we'll have consultations, but then there's we don't get hired with it, or we wind up turning them away. So I really want to try to hone into the right market of people in those areas.
Good. Kirsten?
I think this year I've learned a lot about patience. Patience and consistency, with social media as well. It takes time to figure out what works, what doesn't work for our clients, and social media is kind of finicky, and you never really know what's gonna do well. So patience. and
Kirsten's
that.
the only one in our company who had a real hit 5 million this year, so.
Yeah. So it worked out. Patience.
It did work out.
Worked out, but yeah, I think that's one of the
It
biggest
can be
things.
super frustrating on the back end. Facebook is not our friend.
No.
Meta.
It's like number 3, dislike brands this year.
Mm.
What was your first?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Folks were in the top 7.
Mm.
I feel like Chick-fil-A shares second place for most hated and also second place for the highest grossing.
Oh,
Probably.
that's interesting.
I don't know if that's
I don't
accurate.
know anybody that hates Chick-fil-A.
Well, that's the thing. Like they
By all the other restaurants. right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, people say they don't like their value, but they still buy their product.
Right.
Yes. Morgan?
I would say in 2023 I had a lot of imposter syndrome because it's my first year out of college, first year in a career. So in 2024, I want to be more confident in my knowledge because I finished college and do have the knowledge to be doing what I'm doing. So
Don't worry, that's definitely only a one-time thing that never happens again in your life. It will never
Imposter
again.
syndrome forever. You just
Once
learned
you
better to
overcome it,
fake
you're
it.
done. You just don't have to ever worry about it again.
It's actually a state you wanted to stay in.
there you go.
It means you're moving somewhere.
Lindsay?
Okay, so 2023 was an interesting year for us. I would say hard. It was hard on me personally, like just with the business. Business is great, but I had a lot to handle and just kind of deal with due to our growth. And in reflecting, due to the growth in the first half of the year, I had to focus a lot on operations with the leadership team, which is necessary, but it took my eye off of sales and other metrics inside the business. And so going into 2024, I feel like we have a lot better foundation in place for that, and I'm gonna focus on the things that bring me joy too. So, and that's selling, so get ready, people. I'm going to hit the streets. No, it's it's working with clients. Okay, watch it, Chris. Working with clients, bringing more business in, and creating marketing plans.
So you're gonna get that clip.
Yeah, that's
That is the clip for today.
That's the first 2 seconds.
yeah.
Business is so good, Lindsay's hitting the streets.
No, Anyway, the lessons that we learned, we had to learn. Like, I have 0 regrets about what happened, but it's just, I am thankful for the opportunity to even take the chance to reflect on that, recognize the lesson, bring it in, soak it in, and take that into 2024. So I appreciate all of your transparency and willingness to share that as well. And I'm really excited for next year. And Merry Christmas, everybody.
Good job.
Thanks. I
Thanks,
know.
Lindsay.
It went longer than I thought it was. I was like, man, I don't know what to talk about.
Nothing to change.